Another day, another review, and another review written by one of our highly talented subscribers. Justin, or Chicken Perm as you may well know him, has been a regular to the channel for a long time, and not only is he a top fella, but as you'll soon discover, he writes a bloody good review as well. So here is Chicken Perm's review of Halcyon 6. Halcyon 6 originally released in 2016, with the Lightspeed Edition hitting in 2017 for a variety of platforms such as Windows and iOS. The Switch version is a compilation of the older versions with a few little extras too. An initial glance may look like nothing more than just another turn-based strategy game, but just like an onion, there are multiple layers under the surface. But also like an onion, will it make you cry? Thank you to the developer for the review copy. Now, let's find out. Halcyon 6 will not captivate you with much of a storyline, but the universe of the game is filled to the brim with various differing life forms, all with certain motives that can aid or hurt you depending on your choices. In the Terran space, there is the Halcyon 6 Starbase, known throughout the universe as a mysterious, powerful relic, created by a previous, long extinct alien race, and now desired to be in the possession of all life forms. The human race that you are in control of operates the Starbase, and are known as the new Terran Federation. In the opening cutscene, the Federation leader leaves Halcyon 6 with a fleet of ships on a mission, and they are tragically wiped out by a dangerous mutant race known as the Cruel, or some such pronunciation anyway. The loss of the Federation leader leaves Halcyon 6's crew in a very vulnerable state, not only from the grotesque Cruel, but from all of the other life forms from the far edges of Terran. It is now up to you and the remaining Federation crew on Halcyon 6 to come up with a plan to survive, avenge and rebuild after the tragic loss of your leader. Failure to do so may well see the surviving humans captured, defeated, losing possession of the highly desired relic, or worse still, wiped off the face of Terran once and for all. As stated before, the surface of Halcyon 6 Starbase Commander may appear as just a spaceship-themed turn-based RPG, but assuming that would be a grave injustice. The first 2 hours of playing, which included a tutorial, I really felt unsure on what exactly to prioritise. My ship's morale and resources plummeted to nearly zero. I was on the brink of extermination and really struggling to do anything successfully. However, I felt it was not the game's fault for me struggling. It was just the fact I do not play this type of game very often. After refusing to give up, something just clicked in my third hour of playing, and I really understood what I was doing and became hooked. I found that Halcyon 6's gameplay is threefold, and ultimately it is up to the gamer as to what they wish to prioritise. The three facets of the game are all equally crucial to understand and develop as the enemy becomes more powerful, and they are as follows. First of all, you have base building. Halcyon 6 consists of a few dozen rooms that need to be explored in order for you to make the rooms available to expand within the base and upgrade. The further you want to explore, the higher the level your commander needs to be. The best comparison I can think of to this is a bit like Fallout Shelter, but this is done better in my opinion. Each room you construct can have different purposes, like gathering a certain type of resource. The 4 resources to maintain are crew members, materials, dark matter and fuel. Nearly every action in the game uses some combination of these resources, so you must maintain all of them in order to expand your power. Other rooms can be used to train your crew, upgrade your ships, promote crew members to captains, or to research the Cruel. The second facet is turn-based battling. There are 2 ways to fight in this game, and both are turn-based. Most battles take place in your ships, but some do take place on foot. You can pick from 3 different class types for your captains, being tactical, engineer and scientist. Each class has its own type of ships, perks and upgrades, but you can only take 3 ships per fleet regardless of how many ships you have created. The classes even have their own randomly generated stats and perks that kind of reminded me of the game Rogue Legacy. Usually, you can only send 1 captain into an on-foot battle, and he or she will be joined by 2 of the generic and weaker crew members, a bit like your red shirts in Star Trek. It is important to upgrade the crew when base building, otherwise the on-foot battles will be tremendously more difficult for you. In either type of battle, you will face 1 to 3 enemies per time. Finally, we have exploration. Once you have your ships built, you will want to travel to neighbouring planets in order to develop them. The planets you can develop will send a certain type of resource back to your base so that you can gather them faster. The crew will send fleets to these planets from the start and attack them. If you do not send a fleet to attack and defeat them, they will destroy the planet and you will lose out on developing that planet for resources forever. I really missed out on this aspect of the game. I often fought and destroyed the cruel fleet stationed at a planet, but I did not know to develop the planets to help me out in return. Eventually most of the planets were destroyed and surrounded by multiple fleets of enemies that you have to fight in succession, and it is very difficult to survive. My experience would have been much simpler if I had utilised these resource boosting planets in the first place. Once you have a grasp on these 3 areas, the game is very gratifying to play. The enemy's strength increases rather fast, so you'd better upgrade your Federation in every aspect. The further you get into this game, the more I recommend saving after everything you do, because if you make one wrong move or attack, it could result in a heartbreaking destruction of one of your ships and high-level captains perishing. The destroyed ships cannot be saved and will have to be rebuilt should you have the resources. But luckily you can build a clone room and bring back that deceased leveled up captain like you never lost them. Your captains can gain experience from either winning battles or doing tasks on the Starbase. Each captain has their own tree branch leveling up system to add more attacks or increase stats for both types of battle. The biggest negative is the complete randomness in regards to the amount of damage you take from enemies. Sometimes you evade multiple attacks in a row, other times attacks that barely hit put a dent in your ship, then other times a single attack can take away half to all of your ship's health. Different races will contact you for various reasons, and it is entirely up to you whether you want to be cordial, hostile, form an alliance, spurn, attack or defend them. Other races often have ulterior motives when contacting you, so it's up to you if you will benefit enough to oblige them. Overall, there are many different ways you can go about playing this game, and despite it being complex and a bit vague at first, it definitely has a fair learning curve. Gameplay receives 17 out of 20. In terms of the controls, there is nothing too complex or unique. There is a day and time counter at the top middle of the screen that keeps track of days passed. Time and travel can be sped up by pressing the plus button and turned back to normal by pressing the button again. Building rooms in your Starbase, gathering materials and upgrades all take a certain number of days to complete. The higher level your captain is that you assign to tasks, the fewer days it will take to complete the task. If the task relates to your captain's class, it will take even less time to complete too. For example, assign your highest leveled captain to recruit members, a scientist class to do research, or a mechanic to construction to maximise production. The speed up option is useful when your fleet is travelling to any destination, waiting for resources to build up, or for upgrades or tasks to complete faster in real time. The left analog stick controls a cursor you move on screen, and the A button selects what your cursor is hovering over. Very simple and straightforward. At times it seemed like the game would either lag or maybe even not respond when I pressed buttons to do certain commands, and I would have to press them multiple times, but otherwise controls are fairly sound and they receive 16 out of 20. The ships and the characters take on a pixel art style when in battle, which is fine, but I think the fact that they went with regular cartoon-like animations for everything else, including battle backgrounds, was an excellent choice over an all 8-bit appearance. The background and environment are very colourful and appealing to the eye. Each faction has their own assigned colour, either for their skin, the ships and or their uniforms. I give the game credit for creating a massive amount of different styled ships. Even when a ship is upgraded in the same class, it takes on a completely new look. Along those lines, each and every attack has their own unique animation too, and there are a hefty amount of diverse attacks to choose from. It is clear a lot of effort and passion went into the visuals, and they receive 18 out of 20. In regards to audio, Halcyon 6 nailed an isolated, ominous, deep space atmosphere when looking at the Terran space map, which is what you will be doing most of the time while playing. The sound effects whilst in battle are done rather well, and given that there are many different moves to pick from, I did not feel like I was hearing the same sounds repeated for different moves. Other than that, there is not much else to the audio of the game. It's also pretty disappointing that there is no voiceover or any sort of narration at the beginning. The scenes when other races' fleets approach you and converse with you on the spaceship's big screen, again much like in Star Trek, are done by just using text. It really would have helped flesh out each race and made this universe feel much more alive if you had heard each race's different dialect. Even the crew, who cannot even speak, just show inaudible words, grunts, gurgles and the like in the text, taken away from their intimidation factor. It just feels like the developers missed out on a huge chance to fully immerse the player into Terran with the lack of audio from the characters. It scores 12 out of 20. Halcyon 6 Starbase Commander Lightspeed Edition sells for £14.99 or $19.99. If you enjoy the genre of turn-based RPG, base builders and/or tactical strategy games, this one is a great gem to pick up. The £15, $20 may be a little on the higher side than I would have liked, but in fairness the game is definitely of a decent length and the production values are high enough as it probably warrants such a price. Should it ever go on sale for around the £12 or $15 mark, then I would absolutely recommend that you pick it up then. Value receives 15 out of 20. To conclude, Halcyon 6 Starbase Commander Lightspeed Edition is a fun and surprisingly deep strategy game that will certainly get your brain working. It creates a colourful and interesting universe and throws in elements of base building for the price that you pay. Some elements of randomness in terms of how much damage you do or do not take, slightly disappointing audio, and controls that are sometimes a little unresponsive do let the game down, but the game certainly hits more times than it misses. Halcyon 6 Starbase Commander Lightspeed Edition receives a SwitchUp score of 78%. So there you have it, an absolutely fantastic review there by Chicken Perm. Please leave a like down below and show him just how much you appreciated his first ever review. Thank you as always everybody for watching, and until next time, happy gaming.